right, I think we're gonna get ready. Get this stream going. Let's see. So I think I've got a 3D print going as well, so we'll see how that works out. I'm not worried about the music being super loud. I just want the background music, so like as I stop talking, there's something to fill the air, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Right, let me mute the stream. There we go. Okay. So let's see here. This is what I've got going on right now. So in the top right, let me change the naming of this. Should be fine. So in the top right, you guys should see a the cam of my 3D printer going. I think right now it's going to be printing a little Pepe head. So if you guys see that going at the same time, hopefully by the time the stream is done, the Pepe head will be complete and shouldn't have to worry about anything else. So anyways, on what you guys see here on my screen is a shared folder, and then I've broken up my demo in the 5 different folders you see here. These 5 different folders are going to be the increments we're going to break up, let's say Netcat or something else like that, but Netcat's going to be our example. This shared folder you see on this left side is going to be the shared folder on this host, which is currently running antivirus, Norton Antivirus. So just to give you an example of what's going to happen, so if we take any of these out of here, so I'll take Netcat out of the ones directory and throw it over here, we're going to see this sit here for a second, and then Norton's going to flag it and then delete it. See down in the bottom right, we see that Norton has said, hey, we found a risk. Let's go ahead and delete it. And here in a second, it's going to delete it. Let's see, there it goes. And we see that infected file was removed, so Netcat was removed. Okay, cool. And that's going to happen with all of them. So one of the things you can do to mitigate that stuff is you can use a packer. One of the examples I have here is UPX. So let's zoom in a little bit. That's garbage looking. Thanks, Windows 7. So anyways, we have UPX here. Right? And UPX is just one of the ways you can pack that. Let me turn that shit off. I don't like that crap. Close out. All right. So anyways, we have UPX that we can use. So we'll cd into UPX. And we'll do UPX the executable. TAC1 for the compression. We want to do nc. Oops. nc.exe is what we want to pack, and then we want to do TAC0 for the output of nc packed.exe. It'll run through its whole thing. It'll tell you, hey, the file size has changed. Now it's packed. Essentially what it's doing is it's a compression of sorts. And all this does is it's going to change the initial MD5, the initial signature, and give it some sort of pack. So if you ran strings on this, it's not going to show up with a lot. Okay. So we can take this packed version. We can pop it over here, go kaboom, it's packed. And then go back to our Windows 7 box. Windows 7 Norton has flagged the packed version of Netcat as still a malicious file. And then it'll go through that same process that it did before, and it deletes it. So we can see in our log that here, infected file nc_pack.exe has been deleted, right? So we've removed that. Okay, so we can close that. We can see this. All right, so pack's not always the best way to go. So one way we can do this is we can break apart each one of these, or each portion of this, and pass it across bit by bit. And the easiest way to do that is to start in the 10,000s range. Right? What's up, Udir? So we can break Netcat up into the 10,000s range. So let's do that. Let's go into that directory. The AV demo 1000s, right? So we have, here we are in that directory. So something that we can do is we use, let's see, where is that? Powersploit. Powersploit within Powersploit has antivirus bypass built into it. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to break these up in individual sections. Now I've already imported it, but what you can do is import module, not import module, and then you import, oops, we don't want the demo, we want, is that it? It's in powersploit, there it is. So we got powersploit, and we want to import the very first one. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to import this module, antivirus bypass. That's all we care about. All right, so I've already imported it, so it's not going to flag up. But once you do flag it up, it'll say, hey, do you want to import this? And there's a whole slew of things you can say yes and no to. Okay, but the one we're going to use is Find-AV. So I Find-AVSignature, and all this is going to let us do is break it up into those signatures. So we can do our starting bit, which is going to be, our starting byte, excuse me, which is going to be 0. We want to be our ending bit, or byte, which is max. So from 0 to 36K, right, 36,000. And we want to do it in intervals of 10,000, right? So it's going to go 0 to 10, 0 to 20, 0 to 30, 0 to 40, but it's going to max out at 0 to 36,000 something. Okay, and then we want to say, hey, which one are we going to do? So we're going to do C:, C users, insider threat, desktop, AV, let's see, 1000, and then netcat.exe. So this is what we want to break apart in 10,000 byte increments from 0 to max. All right, so we can hit enter. It'll say, do you want to do this? It's going to create 4 binaries being written, right? It's going to be written to our 10,000 mark here. So we'll say yes, and then we'll have those 4 files generated. So 0 to 1,000, or 0 to 10,000, 0 to 20,000, 0 to 30,000, and 0 to 36,527 bytes. Okay. If you look on the right-hand side, you can see the size is 0, 10, 20, 30, 60. And what that means is it's pulling everything from 0 to 10,000, 0 to 20,000. Right? So then we're just going to take each one of these and slowly copy one by one over. So we're trying to find that byte that's going to trigger Norton antivirus. So we'll take 0, we'll copy it over. Okay. Go over here, we can wait, give it 20, 30 seconds, right? And wait for it to trigger. I know it's not going to trigger because I've already done this before. So we can copy over the 10, and we can copy over the 20. Okay. So between the 10 and the 20, nothing's triggering yet. So let's copy over the 30. We're going to see antivirus trigger. Okay. So as we see antivirus trigger, that auto protect is kicking in, and it's going to quarantine this folder. We can see our quarantined folder is quarantined out 20. It should also quarantine out the 30 because 30 has the 20,000 byte in it. So what we can see here is our triggering byte is between 10,000 and 20,000. Okay. So knowing this information, we can move forward into the next section. So we have between 10 and 20,000. Okay. We can go ahead and delete these because they're irrelevant at this point. Go back to our host box. Okay. So here we are between 10 and 20,000. So between 10 and 20,000, we want to do this in 1,000 byte increments. So at the same time, we're going to cd to 1,000. We're going to run the same command. We're going to put it in this directory. We're going to do it in 1,000 byte increments. And we're doing not max anymore. It's to 20,000. And this is going to be 10,000. Okay. So we have 10,000 to 20,000 in 1,000 byte increments. Okay. So we have that going, and we're going to run that. It's going to say, yes, do you want to break this up into 10 binaries? Of course we do. And over here on the left, or the right-hand side, we have all 10 to 11 to 20, 12 to 13, all the way through to 20,000. Okay, so we can do that same thing and copy over, a couple at a time and see where this triggers. It'll be pretty interesting as we go forward, because we're gonna go straight down to this single 1 byte that is going to trigger on Netcat. Okay. So 10 to 20,000 or 10 to 12,000 didn't trigger. Let's go to 13 to 15, see what happens. So we copied over 13 to 15,000. Stay here for a second. And there we go. So we've got this protection kicking in, and again, it's going to do the same thing it did in the previous folders. And all we're doing, again, we're getting down to that one single byte. As it's processing these threats, it's going to go ahead and remove them. Let me clear those entries. Actually, that's not true. We're not going to clear those yet. So 14,000 was the one that was removed, and that includes everything from 13,000 to 14,000, okay? 13,000 may not be, so 12,000 to 13,000 doesn't include the offending byte, but between 13 and 14,000 does. So we want to go ahead and check out and go between 13,000 and 14,000 now, because 14 was that starting quarantine byte. So I'll clear these entries real quick so we can have a cleaner look. Okay. So we'll delete these. We'll push forward. So between 13 and 14,000. So between these two. Okay, and we can put all of them over there from 14 to 20,000. They're all going to trigger and they're all going to be deleted because they include that byte between 13 and 14,000 that is offending. Okay, so we're only concerned about between 13 and 14,000. Let's back off and go to the hundreds because we already know the 10,000th byte. So we'll CD to 100. We'll run the same command on the 100s. So we can do this because we know the 14,000 works. We can do this. So again, between 13 and 14,000, we are just looking at those offending bytes between those two. So we'll go ahead and transmit that. We'll say yes. Oops. Let's do this again because I wasn't paying attention. We'll do this in 100 byte increments. Delete these. Yes, we want to do that. We're going to have those 10 files created. So again, now we have 13,000 to 14,000 in 100 byte increments. Okay, so as we move forward on this, same thing as before. We're going to chain, or we're only going to copy over a couple. Let it process over here on Norton. As we can see, Norton's not kicking up and doing anything. If we highlight these and we go, hey, Norton, scan them, they're going to come back with no threats found. Perfect, right? So we can force that scan, or we can just wait for Norton to do its thing. So let's go ahead and copy over the 1313 and then 13600, right? So we'll copy those ones over. So 1313 all the way to 600. I don't know why I put that backwards, but whatever. So on this side, we have it in order, 13, 14, 15, 16. So again, we can wait for Norton, or we can do scan now. No threats found. Perfect. Awesome. So we can do the same thing again. This is a very tedious task as we move forward, but you're going to find that one offending byte, and we're going to change that to be not offending, which is essentially changing the signature without changing the operation. So we can wait a second. Norton should flag because I know the offending byte, but there it is. Okay. Wait for it to process. One thing I will caution is that this is not going to be the same offending byte on all antivirus. So AVG, Norton, McAfee, they're going to be different offending bytes. Okay, so this is just Norton, right? This is just one way of testing the offending byte and seeing which one it is. Let's see here. So we see the 1900 was removed, and I think the 1800 will also be removed. No. So it's not going to be the 1800. So 1900 was the offending binary that got removed, only because it includes between 13800 and 13900. Okay, so we can close that and remove this, delete it all, because those are all good. So if we copy over the 14,000, it's going to also trigger, and it's also going to be quarantined because it includes that 13900 offending byte. So just to give you that example, I can copy that over and we can see that happen. Alright, so there it goes. It's triggering. Auto protection is processing security risk Netcat. It doesn't matter what we call it or what we change the name to, it's still going to trigger. Okay. So we can see that 14,000 was also triggered and was also deleted. Okay. So now we know it's between 13,800 and 13,900. So we can do this two more steps we got left, right? So we'll go into the tens. Okay. We'll cd to the tens directory. We'll run the same thing. Do this on the 10 netcat. We'll do increments of 10. And we'll do 13,800 to 13,900, right? Because those were the offending bytes in between, back and forth. Okay, so let's go ahead and process that. So now we have 13,800, 13,810, 13,820, so on and so forth, all the way down to 13,900. Because we know between 13,8 and 13,9 is that one offending byte. Okay, so we can do the same thing. Copy over a couple. You can do these one by one and wait, but kind of gets boring after a little bit. Got to keep that in mind as well. So wait, or we can force the scan for Norton. No threats found. Sounds perfect. Okay. And do the same thing with 1813 all the way to 13, 18, 30 to 50. Copy those over. Wait for that to trigger. Curious why my 3D print is not going off in the top right. I had a failure of some sort. It looks like Norton has kicked up some threats here. So let's see which ones they delete. Ooh, it looks like 1830. All right. See, 1830. Triggered off and then deleted. Sounds good. All right. Let's go ahead and delete these. So we know that 1830 is our, 1830 is our triggered binary that's got the offending bytes, right? So we're going to break this down again, one more step, the very last step, hopefully, to finding that one offending byte. So between 13,820 and 13,830 is our offending byte. So we're going to do this one more step. I'm going to go ahead and delete these. Okay. Go to our ones directory, which is going to be the same thing. We got Netcat in there. Run the same command. We'll do it in the ones directory on intervals of 1 because we're already down to that area. We'll do 13,820, 13,830, right? So 13,820 to 13,830. We'll do the ones directory. Yes, we want to create these 10 binaries. And right here we have 13,820 to 13,830. 1 byte increments all the way through. So now that we have that done, let's do the first 3. See what happens. If we don't want to wait, we can trigger it, force Norton to do the scan. No threats found, cool. We can do 23 to, let's say, 26, copy those over. Wait for it to trigger, or force it. Oh, look at that. It looks like it's found 3 files that have the offending byte within it. do its thing. We don't want to close that. I don't know why I did that. So it should be, there we go. Okay, so all threats are removed. All right, so we can see that 13823 did not have an offending binary, but 13824 did. And of all the ones that we copied over, if we look at that highlight still, 23, 24, 25, and 26, that's what we copied over. And 23 stayed. So our offending byte is between 13823 and 13824. Okay. So if we just change one byte, if we flip that one byte to something entirely different, we could modify Netcat and hopefully not modify Netcat to fail or break or have any issues. So again, here's our Netcat. Let's do HXD. Yep, HXD. Open up, just so you guys understand. We're going to open up, let's see, not this Netcat, because that's not the one that, well, it could because it's the same thing. But let's do the one that we've been breaking up and throwing over there. So let's go into the ones directory. We'll pull out that Netcat. Okay, but before we do this, we need to open up calc. Oops, not cackle. Calc. What in the crap is going on here? Calc. Okay. So I have this set up and it's in programmer mode because it helps us easily switch between hex and decimal. So we're going to go 13.823, I believe is what it was. We can do this pretty quick. So 35FF is our offending byte that is kicking off that triggering of Norton. So we can say 35FF. So let's go to 35FF. I'll scroll down a little faster. Oops. So here we have 35F0. Let me zoom in. Ah, you son of a bitch. Okay. Hopefully it's going to be a little easier to see. So as we look at 35, where'd you go? F0, right? So we got 35F0. Go. This is all the way through. So up at the top we have 00, 01, 02, 03. It's all in hex. So we're looking for 0F. So 35F0, if we go all the way to the end where 55 is, this is going to be 35FF. Okay, so we can change this to 56, changing it just one byte, not doing a lot of changing to it. Close this out because that's getting ridiculous. Drag this back up. And we can save this as, go to that, or we can do, let's go desktop and we'll change it to netcat_mod because we modified it. Right, we can save it there. Minimize this, and we have Netcat right here. So the signature is going to be different. Everything's going to be different about this compared to Netcat itself. So let's copy this over and see if it triggers, like it did with Netcat mod and Netcat packed, or Netcat regular, Netcat packed. So far, we can wait, or we can force it by selecting it and saying scan. As you can see, it says no threats found, but does it work? That's one of the big things. Okay, so we'll finish here. If you hold down Shift and right-click within Windows 7 or 10 or anything like that, you can open up a command window here. Regular doesn't show it, but if you hold down Shift and right-click, I'm sure that's not a lot of people already know about that, but it's just one little thing that I found very useful. You're a 0x90. So we can open up a command terminal here. All right, so we have Netcat mod. So we can do Netcat mod. Attack LVNP. So listen, verbose, do not resolve, and on port 9000, I want to serve Windows System 32 cmd.exe. There it is. So that's me serving cmd.exe. Okay. So So from my attacker box, if that is running in the background, okay, so I have Netcat here already. And I'll just do 192.168.4.31 because that's the share. And then I want to connect to port 9000. So as soon as I trigger that in there, I am now on my test PC. Instant connection, everything's done. So now I am bypassing Norton's antivirus to trigger a Netcat to work. Now this doesn't work with everything. If you try to do this with malware or a different type of backdoor, you may cause a break in the code or a break in the thing or the binary. So it doesn't always work exactly the way it should. However, there's other ways to change the signature, and there's other ways to modify that signature. That's not something I'm going to go into in this video or go into in this stream, but it's just another way. That's pretty much it. It's not a very long video. It's not very involved. It just involves a couple of things, and those couple of things, at least for me, include having powersploit, right? So powersploit's a very powerful tool. It comes with a bunch of stuff in it, and one of those things is antivirus bypass. Okay. And all I did was modify Netcat, pass it across the lines, and use it. Okay. I'll stick around for a little bit if anyone has questions or anything that you want answered that I can do to the best of my ability. So just throw them in chat, hit me up, and I'll just sit here and respond. Yeah, sure, I'll change it to a knot. Oops. Don't want that. No. The one on the desktop. So I got 35 FF. 90. Is that what you wanted? 90? Pretty sure that was it. I'm pretty sure it'll work. I don't have any doubts that it won't work. I'm pretty certain that it will. So let's go ahead and save this as Netcat Delta. We'll save that to desktop. All right, let me go ahead and stop the other one real quick. All right, so there we go. We'll delete this one. Netcat Delta. Uh-oh, what's going on with that? I'm not well versed in Mimikatz. I do know that Mimikatz does have a TAC bypass option if that's what your question is going to concern or contain. I'm not the best person to ask about Mimikatz because I don't use it as often as I should. I know that it's very useful on most engagements. So let's do delta, right? Is that what you want to do? You want to see what that is? So it's running. Nothing's broken yet. Let's go ahead and connect to the same thing. Looks like it's working. So you can do a NOP sled right there in that 1 byte. It shouldn't have any issues. So who am I? Boom, look at that. I am test PC. Like I said, this doesn't always work in every single situation. I do a lot of experimenting on just regular tools that go across and get flagged. So Netcat's one of those major tools and major components that will trigger on most AVs. Now this is just an initial scan, right? So Norton is doing its initial scan. It's checking headers, it's checking signatures, it's checking little things. I'm gonna let this run, maybe for a couple of hours. I'll probably do a blog post on setting this up and creating these increments and creating this one binary that goes across and giving that kind of tutorial breakdown other than just having the video. And what I'll do is I'll kind of give my synopsis on what happened based off of Norton's heuristic scans. So heuristics, if you're not familiar, is something that is an ongoing pattern. And I'm not certain if Norton has that heuristic engagement and working that way. So it's definitely something I could post it in there and post about. Sorry, Toxic Silence, I didn't have an answer for your Mimikatz or possibility for Mimikatz. Does that help you out, Delta? Using that NOP sled version? I don't know if 9055 would work. I mean, it's definitely something I'd be interested in seeing or attempting to do. Let me see here. So I did check on my printer. This motherfucker up in the top right had a fault on it because I didn't turn the power switch on the main system. So it faulted out because it couldn't heat the bed. So if in a few minutes you guys see it doing some stuff in the top right, that's why, because I went up there and reset it. Restarted it. So you want to try 9055. So right here we had 90 where we put it in. I think that might break it. I'm not entirely sure, because we'd have to look at the assembly and see where that 9055 is, or where that 90 is replacing, instead of pushing it to the next memory slot. So I don't know if I'd want to do that. Yeah, you'd have to open it up in Ollie Debug or X64 or X32 or Binary Ninja or something like that, and change it that way. Yeah, I'm not entirely certain if Netcat has the room or the code cave to grow or shift those bytes. In most cases, you're gonna put that NOP sled in there and it's gonna severely mess something up. So this way's a little more kind of bare bones and basic. It's nothing to do with code analysis or changing the code or changing anything. So I think the next one I'm going to try and do is kind of document on how to put Netcat or maybe the offending byte of Netcat. So I might be able to try and put Netcat within calc.exe. So every time calc.exe runs, it makes that call out to a server, creates that backdoor shell every time Netcat every time calc.exe is executed. So I'm going to tinker with that and get that going right. So for the next stream involving kind of host-based security bypass, hey, look at that, there goes the print. That'll be the next one I'm going to do. Hopefully. I might try to get that one going. That camera angle is way off. Go adjust that. If there are any questions you guys have in the chat, I'd love to answer, or try to at least answer these questions. So give me a second. try it with Windows Defender. I think Windows Defender with Norton is kind of like not letting Defender do anything. So it should be interesting. What do you got, TJ? What do you say? Creative Commons. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's see. What do you got? Who's saying this shit? Oh, yeah. Well, I see. That's what I think. I don't know if it's because Windows Defender is okay with this. I just know that. Let's see. Yeah. So it's being managed by Norton. I can't change anything. I mean, I can change rules, I guess, but something entirely. Even that's popping up with managed by Norton Security. So I would imagine Windows Defender is also doing the same thing. Aha, yes. So if you're using another program that checks for harmful or unwanted software, use the Action Center to check the program status. Yeah, so I would, let me see if my snapshots are regular. I would have to create a third snapshot, and I could do that, I guess, and kind of give the results of Defender doing that stuff. Well, if you guys are paying attention to the 3D print stream that's going across the top, it's now printing. And I'm still working through the McAfee stuff and seeing where that trigger is happening, because I'm not seeing any trigger, and I think it's because McAfee is okay with Netcat just, you know, nonchalantly being on the fucking box. No give, no fucks. So what else you guys got? And I'll post a picture of this finished print when it's done. We'll see how that how it looks like. It's supposed to be a Pepe. So let me show you guys what that's supposed to look like. That's .com. There's a couple of Pepes in here. The one I ultimately went with, whenever the page loads and decides to do its search. It's pretty interesting, right? So we have different Pepes here, right? So there's a Pepe paper cut or cookie cutter, and all that stuff. This is the one that I'm ultimately printing right now, and it looks hideous, and it looks fucking awesome and funny. So I'm gonna print that. Get you a better looking image of this. So that's what's printing in the top left right now. I was hoping to get it running and going before the stream started, but like I said, I had a little bit of an error, a little bit of an issue, but now it's going fine. Man, this VM is slow. Come on. goodness, this thing is terribly slow. Let's see if this one's a little faster because this is my other host. Oops, that's HSD. Seems to be loading a little faster. Or not. Not Popo, Pepe. Oh my gosh. This is ridiculous. I guess it should change that numbering over there, huh? So it's not white on white right here. I think maybe in the next giveaway that I do for Hackmethod, I'll give away this this Pepe head included with it. My goodness, this shit's loading super slow. This site's slow already, as it is. Added in a VM, it's trash. Oh. Dumbass. Well, that's annoying. Anyways. No, it's okay. It's not necessary. I'll post it up. Put it in part of the channel. As you can see, it's going heavy up in the top right. That feed of the Pepe. I'm either going to give it away in the next Hackmethod giveaway, or I'm going to send it directly to BDD or Brain Dead Developer, because he's been promising me to work on a damn hypers, and he hasn't done shit. I'm gonna try and get a better camera angle too on it, so maybe like the angle of the print head, so I can see as it's printing instead of this far away. Maybe just a couple of images instead of just that one. But if you guys got any other questions, you can either email me. I'll put the contact information, I guess I'll put below. Let me edit that real quick and I'll add it. Or you can hit me up on Mattermost, on the NetSec focus Mattermost. Add that in there. that's going to end the stream, and I'll post up, like I said, I'll do a blog post on how to break this up and kind of make Norton not trigger on your offending bytes for at least Netcat. Again, it doesn't always work for every single thing or every single binary, just it works to bypass a little bit. So I'm gonna let this run, and I'll have that kind of results at the end after a couple of hours. Maybe heuristics will kick in and Norton will be like, this is bad because of the pattern, but we'll see. We'll absolutely see.